Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We are so happy to have you all join us today on our Wednesday webinars. I'm having so much fun doing this. And, despite world devastation going on around us, I am so energized and encouraged by what I'm seeing our industry do. I'm so encouraged by what this is forcing us to become. I keep thinking about the focusing question of what is the end of this going to be the beginning of. I'm just so excited for what it's done for me personally and what it's continuing to do and what I'm seeing it do for our company and for our industry. So welcome. This is 90 minutes jam-packed of content. The whole purpose of this is to give you tactical things that you can take away and use right away. There's a whole bunch of really cool mindset and high level stuff happening right now. So many good webinars. And these are really meant to give you scripts and really kind of, like I said, more in the weeds tactical things to use. So I wanted to start today with what I'm predicting and what I'm tracking. It's probably the most common question I've been getting asked, where do I see all this going? And for those of you I haven't had the pleasure to meet, I should probably introduce myself. My name is Bea Williams, and I'm the Director of Growth for Ben Kinney Companies. So I run our 8 brokerages here in Western Washington. We have 8 amazing Keller Williams franchises, and I help the leadership team on our mortgage, title, and escrow companies. So we have about 1,300 agents and amazing leaders and amazing staffs, and I spend a lot of time tracking data anyway. It's part of my job to give Ben projections for where I think the market's going. These days, I'm tracking it daily. And probably one of the most common questions I've been getting asked as I've been speaking on other people's podcasts and webinars is what's going to happen? Where's it going to go? So I wanted to share with you how I'm answering that question. Right now, primarily what I'm tracking is new listings and transaction volume count. In my mind, those are the things that affect us the most, because in our market, certainly here in Western Washington, and in the low inventory markets like California and New York. And by the way, that's what I'm tracking. I'm tracking California, New York, Washington here domestically. Internationally, I'm doing my best to track China, Korea, Italy, and the UK, in case you were wondering. So the reason transaction count to me is the most important thing to track, and the new list shows us where our inventory is going to come from. I think in most of our markets, we probably have enough buyers. At this point, we have enough buyers. So the real story here is inventory, right? So I wanted to share
Bea, you're stuck.
Is Bea unstuck? She's stuck for me.
She's stuck for me too.
Same here.
I want to hear what we're going to share.
Yeah, there she is.
Are you there? Are you there?
All right, there we go. Now we got you.
Where did you lose me?
To share, ..
Lost you. Yeah.
Yeah, bad internet. Sorry about that. I like that someone spelled my name Villa, V-I-L-L-A. That's how you pronounce it, Doug. That's really good. So before we bring on our amazing guests, you're seeing a couple of them right now. We've got Cody Gibson, Mike Perna, Caroline Ho, Steve Hyatt, just amazing people doing awesome business right now. I do want to show tracking because I'm just getting so many questions about it. And I am going to my little crystal, and the caveat is I'm not an economist. I just, do this for a living, and also, I reserve to change my prognostication. Is that a word? Change my call on a daily basis. All right. Can you guys see this okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. All right, let's go. King County, Washington. Here's what we found for March. New listings down 54% over the last 2 weeks. Coincides exactly with our shelter in place. This should not be a surprise to any local agents here in the King County area. And by the way, a lot of these slides are courtesy of Mike Del Pret. This is East Bay, Caroline. So this is our East Bay market. The blue line was last year, and that scary looking orange line is your new listings this year. Coinciding exactly, that plunge is exactly when you guys entered your shelter in place, right?
Absolutely.
Same with Santa Clara.
Yes.
48%. Below a little bit there, right?
Very consistent. Yeah.
New York City down 78% in new listings. So this is okay. We were expecting this. We're prepared for this. But I am tracking Washington, California, New York domestically. When we look at international markets, the UK, Italy, Korea, and China, to me, are the 4 obvious ones to track. This is the UK's new listings. I mean, it's just shocking to see the plunge. It's like a reverse U, and we want the other U shape. Is really, we actually want a V. We want a V shape is what we want. We don't want this. Italy, you can see, went down about 60%. Apparently, South Korea transaction volume went down about 80%. But on the bright side, countries like Germany, I'm being told, didn't get affected that much yet because they went into shelter in place late. So we'll see how that pans out. This, to me, though, is a very optimistic chart. This is China. And here's the cool thing about it. You can see China sort of tends to go to a statistical 0 anywhere right around Lunar New Year. Their Lunar New Year is like our Christmas and New Year's Day, right? We just kind of go statistically to 0. So you can see that also kind of coincided with the peak of their COVID as well, right? So look at this. See this line here? If we keep going up here, maybe 12 weeks, 10 to 12 weeks, they might start catching up to 2018. That is really optimistic to me. That almost feels a little U-shaped. Could even turn V-shaped, right? So that's really optimistic to me. If that's the case, and we're going to hit the peak, I personally think we're going to hit the peak of low transaction count in May. My prediction, my crystal ball, I reserve the right to change my mind, is that we're going to hit our low transaction count somewhere May, maybe into June a little bit, right? If that's the case, then by this fall, we could be somewhat recovered if this is the case. And maybe it looks like a 75% decline in transaction count in May and June. Maybe it looks maybe more like 50% maybe in July and August. Maybe it's 25% off in September, and maybe, just maybe, fourth quarter looks like fourth quarter should. I don't know. So I think that this China chart's really encouraging, actually. I don't see it as a discouraging thing at all. So I wanted to share that with you guys, since that is the #1 question that I've been getting. And feel free to chat away any questions you have. We're going to have Steve Snodgrass come on and do a mortgage update, and when he's on, I'll have questions. But before I bring Steve on, I wanted to tell you guys a story. So last week I told you a John Maxwell story about tango dancers. And this week I'm going to tell you another John Maxwell story, and it's about who I think we need to be right now. It's what he and Jim Collins call the Stockdale paradox. The Stockdale paradox. Does anyone here know this story? Anyone of a certain age, do you guys remember when James Stockdale was a vice presidential candidate? Does anyone remember that? I think it was with Mondale. I can't remember. I want you guys to listen to this, because I think this is who we need to show up as right now as leaders. And here's the story. James Stockdale was a prisoner for 7.5 years during the Vietnam War. And as a prisoner, he was the highest ranked officer, and he led the prisoners, right? So 7.5 years, he led a whole bunch of prisoners as a prisoner of war. And he survived, and he got out of it. So Jim Collins, who wrote an incredible book called Good to Great, Jim Collins asked him, he said, James, how did you survive? And James Stockdale said, well, I survived because I never, ever lost faith in the end of the story. I always knew that I would come out okay. I always knew I would prevail in the end. And I decided that this would be my defining experience of my life. And guess what? It was. So Jim Collins, went on to ask James Stockdale, well, why did other people not survive? Who didn't survive? How is it that you survived and others survived? Who didn't survive? And Jim Stockdale said, oh, that's a really easy answer. The optimists. The optimists are the ones that didn't survive. And Jim Collins was surprised. And he said, what do you mean the optimists didn't survive? And what James Stockdale said, I think is really telling. And he said, what they would do is they would say, well, we're going to be out by Christmas. And then Christmas would come and go and they didn't get out. And they go, that's okay. That's okay. We're going to get out by Easter. And then Easter would come and go and they didn't get out. And then the next Christmas would come and go. And he said, eventually, a lot of them just kind of died of a broken heart. They gave up their will to live. So the Stockdale paradox is this fine line that we have to live, I believe, as leaders, and also when we lead ourselves within ourselves. The Stockdale paradox is you can never confuse faith that you're going to prevail in the end with steeling yourself up for the hard road ahead. You have to have both. You have to have hope and hard, as John Maxwell says. If you don't have hope, then you're not going to survive. You have to have hope to empower you and to show that you can get through this. You have to have that. But you also have to really steel yourself up and equip yourself and get ready to face really hard road ahead. If you have one of those without the other, it doesn't work. So the paradox is you have to have hope and you have to be braced for hard. And so before we go into talking to our guests today, or really anything, having great mortgage updates, I want you guys to really think about that, right? You have to steel your team, your family, yourself up for potentially hard road ahead. I think we're probably going to be down transaction volume May or June. Do I look upset? Do I look stressed? I'm not. I'm prepared for it. I expect it. Doesn't mean it's not going to be hard when that day comes and I see the bottom line. Doesn't mean that. I have good days and bad days too, but I'm steeled up for it. I'm prepared for it. My people are prepared for it, right? I have incredible hope, and I would say borderline excitement about getting through this, right? So I want to kind of make sure that you guys are hearing that from me, that we have to have a balance between hope and hard during these times. All right? Okay, I'm done. I'm all done. Lisa, it might have been Ross Perot. I suppose one of us could Google it. With all of that heavy, heavy stuff, Steve Snodgrass, president of BKCO Mortgage, what do we need to know today, my friend?
Hi, everybody. Yeah, there's a million changes happening right now in the mortgage industry. So I would say my update today, one of the biggest changes we have is the verbal verification of employment that needs to be done at the end of the process. Typically in the past, we've done verbal verification of employment 10 days before closing. Then it got moved to 5, then 3. Now the verbal verification of employment has to be done 1 business day prior to the disbursement date. So what we're doing to try and get ahead of this is we're trying to get in contact with all of our customers and letting them know, the work number is not the efficient source of doing the verbal verification of employment anymore. It's not reliable enough. A lot of people are losing jobs. A lot of people are getting furloughed. A lot of people have their income impacted by this, especially self-employed people. So self-employed people have to give us 2 years tax returns. They have to give us a P&L for 2019 if they haven't filed. They have to give us a P&L year to date. They have to show us that their business and their income is not being impacted. So this is just going to have a really big effect on disbursements. I'm trying to get some information out about that, but just want to make sure we stay ahead of it and everybody's prepared. We don't want to delay any fundings on any of these loans, but we have to make sure that the borrowers have the ability to repay. So that's my big tidbit for today. I don't know if you have any questions on that.
Yeah, I know that, Steve, thanks for squeezing us in today. I know that we're still doing jumbo. That's a question I'm getting a ton. So we're still doing jumbo. They're tightening restrictions on that a little bit, right?
Yeah, jumbo's for sure restricted, 80% LTV, purchase or rate term only, 720 FICO, 40% DTI, and 12 months reserve. So it's a lot tougher on the jumbo side. And I would say pricing isn't great. It's just not a lot of, depositors out there that are doing these anymore. So it's going to be a little tougher.
All right. I know that you've got a 12:30 meeting. If anyone has any questions for Steve, they can either type it in chat, and everyone's always invited. We're having lunch and learns every Friday with Steve, and we're just doing it in my Zoom room, my Zoom room here. Zoom's got a bunch of new security on it now. That's my Zoom room every Friday at noon. So it's just a drop-in meeting environment. And we had a ton of people last Friday just asking all the questions to Steve. And by the way, things will change between now and Friday. It's been so crazy.
Yeah.
So
and I'd say rates, are still terrific, 3.375 on a 30-year fixed purchase, with no points and no lender fee and $1,000 credit. So it's really good. And we're still getting purchase contracts, the cash out refis on the conforming side have changed a lot too. We're only doing 50,000 above what people owe. So those, and I've heard other lenders have cut those out completely. So
50,000 cash back limit.
Exactly. Yeah. And for self-employed, no cash back.
Can we do a jumbo refi in general?
A rate term, not a cash out.
Just rate term. Okay. Yep. You got that, Chad. Alejandro wants to know how this is affecting VA loans.
VA loans. The only thing that I've seen is we've raised our credit score minimum from 580 to 620, and there's no DTI limit on a purchase. So if you run it through the automated underwriting system and it gets an accept, we can still do it. So I've seen them as high as 67, 68 on a VA loan, which is great, but there are limits on cash out and refinances.
Okay. If their business is being impacted, I'm reading a question. If their business is being impacted or looking like it will, does an underwriter need to see additional sources of income options?
Yeah, anything that we can get to show, and we will even go as far as if they're self-employed and they have some proof of some recent contracts that they've received and things like that. Let's say, real estate agent, let's say they haven't closed anything yet this year. That could be a problem. If they have some stuff under contract or they have some scheduled closings, then we want to see that information. The underwriters want to see, it's all about the ability to repay and how are they being affected.
Okay, sounds good. Let me just make sure. What's the easiest way to get the new rate? What's the source for daily updates?
Yeah, I've been sending out rate sheets as much as I can. I think I sent one out maybe yesterday or Monday. They haven't changed much since then, but I will be sending out some more information, and I'm going to send out some more information on this forbearance. We probably don't have enough time to talk about the forbearance piece right now, but really want to encourage everybody to tell their customers, the forbearance is not free money, right? It's going to have a big impact on the industry in general. If customers need forbearance, they cannot make their payments, they've lost their job, it is absolutely a good thing to do. But if they think it's just, hey, I got a free pass on my mortgage, I can skip payments for a few months, interest is going to accrue, the money's going to get tacked on, it's going to have a much longer term effect.
Yeah. Okay. We're getting some specific questions. I would encourage you guys to come to our mortgage lunch and learn, because we have just we have so much content today and so many guests to get back to that I want to bring my rock star guests on, but reach out to Steve, directly, or show up on Friday. That would be great. Steve, thank you so much for taking the time out for us today. We appreciate you.
Thanks. All right. Appreciate it. Bye, everybody.
Awesome. Now I'm going to spotlight Mr. Cody Gibson. Here we go. Cody Gibson, in your amazing studio, like who has a studio like that right now working from home?
Right. Yeah, we did this maybe 2 years ago, and it has certainly come in handy this last couple of weeks.
You're amazing. So for all of you guys who have not had the privilege to know Cody, like I have for a long time, Cody is one of the first people I met when I came to Keller Williams because I went to your Bold. He is a Bold instructor, which is an 8-week boot camp type of a program that Keller Williams is known for. He runs the United Home Group based out of Portland, Oregon, with locations all over the country. I'll be anxious to hear how many, Cody. Cody is I would say, one of the top 10 industry influencers and celebrities, really, I would say, in our real estate industry. And I consider him a friend, and I'm super honored that he is coming on here today. So welcome, Cody.
It's my pleasure. Thank you, Via. It was my pleasure to say yes. So thanks for asking. It's humbling, so thanks.
Oh, it's not. It's really not. We had some fun banter about this, actually. It was pretty good.
You're still my favorite.
Well, I know. Today I am. Cody, how many locations do you have around the U.S.?
We're in 103 or 104.
Amazing. That's amazing.
So 20, I think it's 20. We were 27 or 28 states, and I think it's 26 states now. But it's, I mean, it's been fun, but it's also like a challenge to figure. I mean, what it means is you have to know all the idiosyncrasies of each of those states, right? And it's just a little bit different everywhere you go. And like that's become even more and more apparent during like this issue, right? Like the way real estate's done in these different areas, like it's a little bit this way here and a little bit kind of the same, but different there, you know, as well as anybody. So we're certainly slogging through that.
Are you finding massive differences in your different markets right now?
Yeah, very much so. Like there's a few markets that we're in that the agent can't even do like a virtual open house. Like it's absolutely nothing. You know,
Mike Perna and Caroline can't, who are on after you. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Nothing. And then, and we're just telling them, just move somewhere else. Like this is the good time to move. But you know, then other states, I mean, it was, you know, we have a heavy influence in Phoenix, and I own a market center there. And up until like 3 days ago or 4 days ago, you know, people in Phoenix were like, yeah, pretty much just business as normal. What's everybody talking about? And of course, the whole country's kind of doing this. I mean, you know, where you live was kind of first for the US for, you know, hey, lock this down, quarantine, like those types of terms. And, you know, you in San Francisco, and then Portland was shortly thereafter. But everybody's kind of doing this. Like even Idaho, who was laughing a few weeks ago, isn't laughing today. So like even they're like, all right, we get it.
Well, it's funny. We have so many rock star friends in Phoenix, and you know the reason I haven't had them on yet is they literally even you know, one of my best friends, Corinne Nguyen, who has a huge team there, they're not even that affected yet. Yeah. So you know, fortunately for them, they haven't been on the Wednesday webinars, right?
Yeah, come back to them in 3 weeks, right? Like you're going to get yours, Corinne. If you're listening, you're going to get yours.
We're going to go like this. We're going to be like, yeah.
I get it.
So Cody, so you're a leader of leaders. You lead. You have a ton of locations. You own Keller Williams franchises. You know, you in our industry. You're what I would call a leader of leaders. I'm really curious. What's the biggest one or two leadership lessons you've learned during this so far?
It's funny that you talked about the Stockdale paradox today, right? Because that's reality of where it is today. I was on a podcast. I mean, they all run together right now. I was on something and somebody said, like, before we did it, they said, tell me all the ways this is nowhere near as bad as the crash of '08. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know if this is as bad as the crash of '08. Like, I guess you could ask me in 24 months if today is as bad as '08. I said, what I think you're trying to do is you're trying to pump false sunshine, saying, no, don't look at this instead. And I think that's a mistake. I think that you've got to be really clear that we don't know what this means. And somebody else said something like, this is nothing like the last time we had a giant shift. If you look at history, there's no two shifts, they're the same. One was due to lending practice. One was due to interest rate. One was due to technology. One was due to war. One was due to oil prices in Alaska going to $8 a barrel. Like, I mean, you take your pick. There's always a reason. And this one, like this shift or crash or whatever you want to call it, which there's always opportunity, though whatever you want to call what this is going to be, this might be the one caused by health. But if you go back 60 or 70 years, none of them are the same. You know, one was the stock market. I mean, take your pick, right? So what I do know is historically, every 8 to 14, 10 or 12 years, something big happens.
Well,
so
it's just like Simon Sinek said in his team meeting, right? This is not unprecedented. This is not unprecedented. You know, the causes may look different, but there have been many crises like this.
Yeah, I mean, somebody said the other day, they said your kids might not know what a handshake is. And I went, oh, that's an interesting thought. Like, forget real estate for a moment. Like this has ability to change the way we just live our lives. And there's a lot of cultures that they don't shake hands, like for that very reason. And so anyway, like who knows, right? But what I do know is this. I know that there's opportunity, and I know that you have to figure out what that looks like for you. And it might not be the opportunity that was 2 months ago, but there's things that play today that did not play 8 weeks ago, but they play right now. And they might not play 8 weeks from today or 12 weeks from today. And so you think about finding the motivated, and you think about the message and the method. What's important today? You know, you're going to walk into a coffee shop, your favorite coffee shop, and let's call it 2 months. I don't know how long it's going to be. Someone said today, do you think blank? And I said, stop right there before you even finish the sentence. I don't freaking know. I got no idea, man. No idea. So let's just say 2 months. You go back to your favorite coffee shop. For me, for you, it's Cafe Ladra. You go to your favorite coffee shop after 2 months. You're going to walk in and you're going to be like, oh my God, it is so great to see all these people. I love being here. I love the meme I saw the other day. It said, trust me. Like, just as soon as this is over, invite me to everything. I promise I'm going to show up this time. I'm coming. I'm not going to cancel like I always do. Like, I'm coming. Please invite me. So you're going to go to your favorite coffee shop, but you're going to get 1 cup of coffee. You're going to get 1 latte, 1 mocha, whatever your thing is. You are not going to buy the 60 that you missed for those 2 months. That's not going to happen. And so you have to be really clear that this is going to cause a deficit in our entire economy. It already is here. Like, unemployment is through the roof. Now, there's arguments of that's temporary. I don't know. I do know that it's there. I do know that it's real. And as a real estate agent, this is happening for us. Unfortunately, this is happening for us during the spring selling season. I wish this happened at December time. And we were like, oh yeah, it's not that big of a deal in our market anyway. This is going to rob the spring selling season from many markets. But I need you to hear my words. That doesn't mean it robs your individual spring selling season. Someone's going to come out of this with more business than they went in. Someone's going to find a resource, and they're going to be resourceful enough that they say, nope, I'm going to pivot. I'm going to do this. And this is going to be what they talk about on stage at Reunion in 4 years, selling hundreds of homes a year. And Gary's going to say, where'd the idea come? And they're going to say, sitting in my jams during COVID of 2020. Like, that's what they're going to say. You're, oh my gosh, that's a great idea. And so I need you to think, are you willing to be that person? But it will rob the spring selling season. I mean, in my market center in Portland, I'm just assuming that we're going to have a difficult spring selling season. But that doesn't mean that one of our 300 agents doesn't have an amazing spring selling season. So you have to realize that while the market might do this, it doesn't mean that you have to, but it does mean you have to be different than the rest of the market. And if I could wave a flag and get people to stop doing this, I don't think the play right now is putting online, you know, hey, remember, I'm still a realtor, call me. I think that's really cheap right now. I think that's waving a flag saying, I work on commission, please call me. I think it looks the way it feels. It's cheap and it's desperate.
So what is the play right now, Cody?
I think the play right now is you can always win by telling a story. So instead of saying, if you want to buy a home, call me, I'm still working, I think that's cheap. I think what you ought to do is say, so-and-so just bought a home. I'm so excited for so-and-so. They got this great deal on this house during COVID. This person just sold their home during COVID. Like, all those things, you can always win telling their story. If you don't have something, find someone in your data bank that just refinanced and is saving $200 a month. and tell that story. As long as you're telling a story about a human being that's related to real estate, if someone needs your help, they're going to say something. But please quit with the waving of flags of, hey, call me, need anything. This isn't the time for that. This isn't, I don't think that's it.
Yeah, this is a time for eye care calls and for, check-in calls and filling the funnel.
There's only 2 scripts that we're teaching right now. And the 2 scripts are how are you and what do you need? Mm-hmm. Now, those 2 scripts, they could have played 6 months ago and they'd have been okay. But right now, today, they're the only 2 that matter. How are you doing? Yeah. Like just the question itself, if you called me out of the blue and said, Cody, how are you? That would come across very different than a month ago. And then you simply ask, what are your needs or what do you need right now? And then just be willing to let that go wherever. Your job as a realtor is not to have the answers, but your job is to be connected enough in the industry and connected enough in your environment and your community that you can find the answers. I think right now, one of the plays is letting people know, hey, if you've been affected and you need unemployment, here's the 2 links you need to know. Here's the rules of unemployment in our state. You don't need to be the expert. You just need to put them on the path of knowing where to go. Who people listen to today is going to dictate who they're buying from and selling with in 3 months and 4 months. So your job is to be that voice. I think that's what's important right now. And you just have to know, the event got canceled. Like the wedding you were going to go to got postponed or canceled. The church that you go and you meet with on Sunday got postponed or went to live stream or whatever. Your daughter's lacrosse team got canceled. Your hopes didn't get canceled. Your dreams aren't put on hold. Your family's not canceled. Like those things aren't affected by this, but you do have to do it different.
It's interesting talking about scripts, Cody. When this thing started, because it's been going on a long time here in Seattle, our initial scripts were a little vague, like you said, like, hey, how are you, checking on any. This is what I'm finding, everybody, that's working a little bit better now that we're on the 2nd round of check-ins and sometimes a 3rd round. What we're finding, Cody and everybody, is the scripts like, how is this affecting you the most? And how has this affected your plans? And what specifically do you need right now? So I'm finding that the scripts that are working a little better are going a little bit more specific now. Instead of just the vague check-in, which played really well up front, now it's a little bit more, okay, what specific track are you on right now that you're stuck on that I can help, right? What obstacle can I remove from this particular road that you're on? And, this is the time to get on all of your Be Neighborly sites and all of your next door sites. And when people are asking for contractors, I've been hopping on and say, always ask a realtor. Here's my list. Smart. And so just these little reminders like, hey, I'm here. This is what I do. And I'm going to provide value to you.
Smart.
So Cody, what are the opportunities right now?
So I think one of them, again, this is one, we just had someone do this yesterday, and I thought it went really, really well. They're somewhere in the San Francisco area or just outside. What they did, like right now, you ought to be able to get in touch with all of your business people and host a mastermind with them. I don't know that they would have shown up 2 months ago. But if you're in a major metro, you can find just restaurants, just cafes, just coffees, just chiropractors, doctors, like the ones who aren't involved with COVID. This affects everybody. Dentists, like it's a big deal. Barbers, hair salons, whatever. What you can do though is you get with those groups and you say, listen, I'm going to invite 5 or 6 from this trade. And all we're going to do is mastermind. How do we pivot right now? What could we do that's virtual? Like there's a hairstylist that I just saw on Instagram that said, well, I can't cut hair, I can sell product. So if you need product, I have it. It's X% off, delivered to your door safely, blah, blah, blah. Like that's a pivot. That's a small shift. That's somebody making something instead of zero. And there's going to be somebody who taps it quick. If you're in a small metro market or more rural, then you might do 1 restaurant, 1 chiropractor, 1 hair, like you might have to borrow just businesses. But here's what you do. You put them together and you say, who's important to you that's smart that we should have on the call? And I'll take care of getting them invited, which of course what you just did was increase the size of your database, right? And you don't need to have the answers. Remember, the idea of a mastermind is we all bring answers. You don't need to know the answers. You just need to be the facilitator. I don't know that the business people in your community would have shown up for you 2 months ago for this Zoom call. I'm not sure they're going to show up in 2 months from now or 3 months from now. But right now, this is a play that you could run right now that's going to win for you. It's easy to do. And a lot of us are stuck at home, right? Or safe at home, however you want to look at the world. There's two ways to see it. Remember that there's two experiences happening right now during this. There's the experience you and I have, and there's the experience of everybody else, and there's the experience of our kids. I mean, I was thinking about it the other day. Let's say it's 2033. I'm turning 40 in June. 2033, I'm 53 years old. If my daughter Emery is in college being interviewed about COVID of 2020, a parent might say, I remember COVID of 2020. We all became homeschool teachers. We couldn't go to our favorite restaurants. We were stuck at home, like blah, 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 blah. I realized I was not cut out for full-time parenting, whatever it is. A child, though, Emery might say in college, yeah, I remember COVID of 2020. We played games on the floor. We did puzzles together. We had more dinners together as a family. I wasn't tired because I wasn't waking up early for school. It was the greatest time that I could remember. So remember, while you're having one experience, there's a whole nother experience happening at the same time.
You know, we thank you for saying that, and thanks for bringing the family in. We always do gratefuls as we start every dinner together as a family, and we've switched it to silver linings and gifts since
I love
COVID.
that.
And I was the last one. I'm always the last one. I do it on purpose. And I was the last one on Sunday night. And I looked around the table and I got a little choked up. And I said, you know what, you guys, we will never have this time again, ever. It pulled my freshman in college back home. I was like, we will never, ever have this much time as a family. And we're going to look back on this fondly. I tell you right now, we're going to look back on this time. We've done puzzles together. My family has never even owned a puzzle, right? And who are we? And, you know, and so I agree with you. I think that's a great way to look at opportunity, Cody. But with that said, you guys don't like it when I say but. I don't mind that word. However, I'm staring at a bold instructor, so I should say and.
You can say whatever you want. You get a free pass.
I like my conscience.
You need.
Like staring at my conscience. There are times, Cody, when even you and I, who might be a little obscenely encouraging and I think you and I are looking at this from an opportunity standpoint. Even we have our times and our moments, and everybody watching has their times and the moments. It hits at different times. It could be an announcement. It could be coming in one day and seeing 33% of your pipeline fail. You know, you name it, right? What are you personally doing to kind of emotionally regulate yourself, and what do you recommend? Do you have anything you recommend to any of our viewers today?
I've got a few thoughts around this. Number one, I love Post-it notes. I got Post-it notes all over the house. I've got index cards everywhere. Like I'm constantly writing. One of the Post-it notes that I put on my bathroom mirror says, "This will pass." The Post-it note next to it says, "It might feel like a kidney stone." And that's just the idea.
I love that.
Let's be honest about it. Like, this is not going to feel good. Like, I want the doctor to say, I want her to tell me, you're going to be okay, but you're going to hate this. Like, just tell me the truth. Like, just lay it out there, right? But what I do know is this. I know that I've been through tough times. And my guess is if you're alive, you've probably been through tough times too. What I also know is that so far in life, I have a 100% batting average of getting through tough times. I have a 100% survival rate. As tough as life has looked personally, professionally, up, down, I've been broke, I've had money, I've been divorced, I've been crying and myself to sleep. Like, take your pick. I've been happy, been sad. I have a 100% survival rate. So far, I always survive. And so a couple of the things that are important to me that work for me, and I don't know that it has to be this for everybody, but for me, habits are a big deal. And I'm working out right now as much or more than normal because I need the energy. Like I have to have it. I'm suiting up. Like, even though I'm not going to leave my home today, like, it matters to me. I mean, nobody would have cared how I came to this, and there's nothing wrong with how anybody comes to this. But for me, this is important. For me, it's like putting on a uniform. For me, it says I'm at work now. And so getting up, suiting up, showing up. I'm doing the best I can to maintain the same type of schedule. 3 or 4 Thursdays ago, on one morning, the big Thursday before everything like really started to shut down in the Northwest, I had 26 or 27 speaking events in the next 40 days that either canceled or rescheduled within 3 hours. And I went, oh my gosh. And I'm used to being on airplanes and traveling. Those things aren't happening. And so I'm doing the best I can. As silly as it sounds, in my bedroom, my suitcase is still sitting right where it always is, because I'm usually never more than 4 or 5 days from traveling. And I refuse to put it away, because what that tells me is this is temporary. And I don't need long-term solutions for short-term problems. I need short-term solutions for short-term problems. And so, and another one, I mean, again, I love the jokes. I love it. Somebody posted a meme that said quarantine rules or like airport rules. It's perfectly acceptable to drink at 9 a.m. I'm with you. I'm with you. And for me, I've had to be,
can we agree the memes are the best part of this whole thing?
they're the best part of this whole thing. And for me, I've had to be extra careful. The other day, it was 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I poured a glass of wine, no judgment, though I looked at it and I said, this isn't me. Like, this isn't a normal Cody, so I'm not going to do it. And it had nothing to do with waiting until 5 or any of that crap. But what it has to do with me is, how do I maintain as much normalcy of who I was before this happened for the habits, so that I go right back to who I'm being? If we're not careful, my prediction is this. You've been around real estate for a while. In January, there's like a hangover from November and December for real estate agents. And it's just like they kind of show up about Valentine's Day. There's just a hangover. It's just cloudy. And my fear for agents is that when this is over, whatever over looks like, there's going to be a hangover. And the hangover is, I mean, the only business that's recession proof that's still legal is liquor stores. And they're up 60 to 70%. Like, we should all go open a liquor store. But the truth is this, like, who you're being right now is who you're going to be stuck with when this is over. It doesn't change like that. And so those habits matter, man. They just, you know, I'm getting up at the same time, trying to go to bed at the same time. And when I do get discouraged, like when I've been a little bit depressed during this, because I have been, like, this isn't me. I feed on people and energy. And what I've done is I've moved the body. Like, all right, let's go for a run. Let's go for a walk. Let's do something just to break the norm. I have to break the pattern that I'm in.
That's fantastic. I just want to thank you so much for taking the time out to come. I know that you're booked solid. You're doing podcasts and webinars and on an international basis. So we really appreciate you coming today. I'm gonna let you go, reluctantly let you go, because I know that you have your next thing. But thank you. Where can any of our viewers reach you if they want to follow up, if they have a referral? My email, CodyGibson@KW. Okay. My mobile number is 907-529-5172. That goes straight to me. 907-529-5172. Do me a favor, the next meme, and I love them, the one that says, can you see yourself being quarantined here? I love that one. Yeah. But the next meme that you want to post that's funny, that doesn't actually help everybody, just send it to me directly and then post something that helps everybody. Okay, do you want to know what my favorite one is? My favorite one is these days, really quick before we sign off, there's the meme, Matthew McConaughey looking horrible on a Zoom, and the meme basically says, if Matthew McConaughey can look like this, what do you think you look like on every Zoom? Right? Yeah, exactly. Actually, that's not my favorite. My favorite that I'm saying to my team leaders every day is, what day is today? Today is 20th. Yeah, right. Something of Marpril. Yeah, my 90-day trial of 2020 is up, and I want out. I want out. Yeah, there's so many good ones. Well, has anyone tried hitting the reset button? Yeah. I know. I've seen that one too. They're so, I'll send you. Thank you guys. I have so much respect for your company and Ben Kinney Company and who you are. You guys are amazing. So thanks for always encouraging me. We think the same thing. Thank you very much, Cody. We appreciate you. Thank you. And now I'm going to bring on one of my absolute faves, Mike Perna in the house. Where are you? We're going to spotlight you. There we go. How are you? I am fantastic. How you doing? Good. How's the weather in Detroit, Michigan? Oh my God. Today it's 67. It's kind of sunny, which for us is, I mean, anything above 50 is awesome, I guess. Sounds like Seattle. Yeah. I mean, that's swimsuit weather, but there's no beaches or anything like that. You know, social distancing, all the things. Yeah. And how's the weather over there? It's beautiful and sunny out in Kirkland, Washington. And I used to say Seattle, by the way, on a funny note, because no one knew who Kirkland was. Sadly, everybody knows Kirkland now. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. So yes, folks, I am in Kirkland, broadcasting in the epicenter of Corona in the USA. Mike Perna, you have so many things on your resume. You are a Keller Williams franchise owner. You have a team in multiple locations. You have mortgage, title, and escrow. Have I missed anything?
Insurance.
Insurance.
Maps coach. What else?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff on there. Runner. I do have marathons. We'll go with that. Although they've all been canceled.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That's amazing. So I just wanted to spend some time with you today. Why don't you describe to us in your own words what the Michigan lockdown, shelter in place, quarantine, whatever you call it, what that's allowing you to do or not do?
Absolutely. No, and first I gotta say thank you to Cody. I between yourself and Cody so far, I've already taken 3.5 pages of notes. This is amazing. And I love coming on these things because I get so much more than I could ever repay, and I appreciate it. With Michigan, we're a true shelter in place. You cannot go outside. You cannot show homes. You cannot have photography done. You cannot do any of those things. The only thing that you can do is the financial piece of the real estate transaction up until late last week, which was frankly just closings. That's it. You could do closings. They finally relented at the end of last week and are now allowing us to do home inspections.
Oh, okay.
And most home inspectors are opting out and saying we're not willing to do them.
Can you go in a vacant home by yourself to preview it? No. Legally, no. Wow. Okay. Yeah, this is all legal. This is a public.
Yes. There's a gray area where they say if there's a true need, as in somebody will be physically homeless if they don't go see a property. However, it's such a gray area as far as what the actual need is, because now we do have some hotels that are back open. I just noticed that the other day. And with the sanitation practices and things like that, how do we define need? So for us, as a brokerage, as a team, we're staying away from all of that.
Yeah. So walk us through what you and your team, are you selling houses completely virtually at this point?
Yes, 100%. 100%. So one we just put on the market last Thursday, ended up having, I believe it was 6 offers on it, sold it over asking. Nobody went and saw it.
And when will they see it? At the inspection?
At the closing. Or when they get the keys. So after just after the closing.
And so you had the homeowner do the virtual tour?
Yes.
Okay.
So we had them do the walkthrough. So we had them do the photos, and then we're having our homeowners do the walkthrough, just 45-second to 1-minute videos, texting them to our agent, and then they can send them out to any other agents that need them. And then same thing in reverse. We're requesting those things for our showings and for our buyers, because we have buyers that have a need again, but we can't go show them the property physically.
So here in Washington, you and Caroline have similar restrictions. We had that as well for about 3.5 days, and then they loosened it a little bit so that we can have some very there's a lot of rules behind it. We can have some physically distanced showings here, by the way, and they allowed in-person appraisals and in-person inspections as long as there's only one person in the home. It's all very orchestrated and strict, but we lived with that for a few days. You've been living with it for how long though, Mike?
About 3 weeks now.
About 3 weeks. So how many listings and homes have you sold or brought on in that time?
That's a good question. So we're tracking it right now by contract. So, and to be right up front, we've moved the needle, not even to pendings or active listings, but just frankly signed contracts.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because right now we're getting all the objections that you guys are probably getting in your market. We want to wait till this is over. Nobody is buying. We don't know what's going to happen. All of those things. And that's okay. But at the end of the day, life will go on. Real estate will move forward. I don't know when it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. And when it is, I want those listing agreements signed now. So that's been our line of demarcation. Get the contract signed, get the buyer HC agreement signed. And those are the appointments that we're doing virtually right now. getting those signed. Even if we're putting a question mark in for pricing until we get out there and see the home, get the signature.
Okay, so I want you to walk us through that. That's really good. So when
Yeah.
you're meeting with a seller and their objection is, hey, I do want to sell my house and I am motivated, but Mike, I'm really not comfortable listing it right now with so many restrictions. How would you combat that?
No, and that's a great question, Viha. I appreciate it. I appreciate that. So sellers have brought to me 1 of 2 reasons why they don't want to list it right now. Either they don't know what's going to happen in the future financially to the real estate market, or they want to make sure to keep their family safe from COVID, which I can appreciate. Which one are you?
Probably the first.
First one? Okay, excellent. Well, I can say this. I don't know what's going to happen in the 6-month, 1 year, 2 year, long-term future. But I do know this. Sellers and buyers operate at very different speeds. So the speed of a seller is this. Our governor at some point in time, whether it's the 13th or the 30th or whatever that looks like, they are going to lift the ban and allow real estate to continue. At that point, most sellers, the sellers that would have been on the market right now in spring, they're going to begin their process. So they're going to call agents, they're going to interview, they're going to get the photography done, they're going to get the staging done, and somewhere between 3 and 6 weeks, they're going to come to market. Conversely, again, with buyers, as soon as the governor lifts the ban, if they lift it at 2 p.m. today, at 2:01, my phone is ringing with a buyer saying, let's get into a house at 2:30. So we're going to have a huge buyer push, and I don't want you to miss that. So let's do all the steps now we need to do. Okay, let's get the contract in place. We'll do a virtual walkthrough on your house. While you're home, we can have you declutter, we can have you stage your own home, and we can have everything ready. So on that day, we're going to hit the market with the buyer, not miss those buyers.
Oh, it's fantastic. Okay, let's go back, rewind. I'm concerned about my family being exposed.
I can completely appreciate that. We've gone to a 100% virtual showing and selling process, which means that these buyers are not actually walking into your home. They're not even leaving their couch, right? And here's what that looks like. My listing coordinator is going to get with you. They're going to help you with taking your own photos. We're going to touch them up and edit them at our end. Nobody needs to come to your home. We're going to get those to buyers. If buyers want a video, we're going to call you and ask you just to shoot a quick 45-second video. It doesn't have to be great, because there are a lot of buyers in the market right now that have a true need to buy something. Otherwise, they're going to be homeless. Mm-hmm. And as the need increases, their restrictions on wanting to see it or what it looks like or what the home has goes down, which means they're also willing to pay more. So now is the time to get your home on the market where we can sell it safely, sight unseen. And the buyers that do ask the questions, they have to buy, so they're going to make great offers.
Got fantastic scripts, Mike. Really, really good. Yes, someone asked. We'll get those typed up for you.
Absolutely.
So, Mike, let's switch to buyers right now. If I'm a buyer, the biggest objection we're hearing right now is, hey, I think prices are going to go down. I want to hold up because I think they're going to go down. What would you tell a buyer?
No, that makes perfect sense, and I can appreciate that. Frankly, I think prices were going to go down too. I've been thinking that for 4 or 5 years. Here's the question. When prices go down, how long do they typically stay down? Actually, let me ask a different question. Are you familiar with how long prices were actually down this last old market, this last recession in Metro Detroit? Between peak to peak?
12 months? How long?
4 years.
4 years. Wow.
Us in Metro Detroit, from the 2007 where our recession started to 2011, if you had bought in 07 and sold in 11, you would have gotten the same price.
Wow. Okay.
How long are you planning to stay in your home?
Well, probably 5 years or so.
Okay. And to be quite frank, 5 becomes 10. I'm that guy, right? We all intend to move in 5 years, but the average American's moving right now between 9 and 11 years in this area, right? So in other words, the home could go down 10, 15, 20, 30%. It doesn't really matter because you're not in the market. Even if the home goes down in value, we will have regained all that value and more by the time that you sold. We're seeing that with our sellers today that bought in 07 but are selling, right? What I can't do for you is when the market recovers, those interest rates are going to go back up, right? Good market, high interest rates. Bad market, low interest rates. Fair?
Yeah.
I can't guarantee we can save you that $400 or $500 a month right now, or in the future, that I can right now. And over the course of, let's say, 10 years you're in that property, that could be as much as $50,000 or $60,000 you're paying in extra interest. Even if if you're buying a $300,000 house, even if it goes down 10%, you're still saving on interest.
Wow, that's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's really, I mean, it's a slower conversation and more question based. I'm just kind of,
Yeah. No, it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
So Mike, what are you doing right now? I'm curious, what are you doing to keep your agents productive, working, and keep their morale high right now?
No, and Via, that's a great question. So we've, before this, we did our Tuesday meetings, our sales meetings. We did our Friday, like script and dialogue calls, things like that. And before, like we have a business where we really try to have our agents running their business. In this time, we've been, I mean, my leadership team, we've been all hands on deck. Number one was we switched to a daily Zoom power up every single day. Every day, every agent, 8:45 a.m. You got to have the video on, right? Which I think is very important to show that you're not still in bed. And now we're even continuing that Zoom. So instead of it being a 15-minute or a 20-minute power up, it's now a 3-hour power up.
And you're just muting yourselves?
Yep. So what we're doing is we're all staying on the phone and we're prospecting together by Zoom, which is great.
My team leaders, we do that every Monday. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. So we're doing that every day. In the afternoon, we're doing wrap-ups and classes. Even simple stuff like how to use Zoom effectively, how to use Google Meet effectively, how to do a FaceTime and yet get somebody to e-sign, like all of those little changes, which can be insurmountable or seem insurmountable. We're teaching classes on that repetitively. And honestly, like we did a happy hour yesterday. It was great. We had quizzes, we had, a lot of fun. It was definitely BYOB. Apparently it went to from 5 to 10:30 at night or something like that. I don't know. I logged off at 7.
Wow.
Just going forever. Yeah. Yeah.
My family's been in hysterics. I had 5 Zoom happy hours last week to the point where they were like, Mom, your social life is more full now than it was before. I'm like, yeah. Thanks for bringing that up for everybody.
Yeah. No,
well,
and that's, go ahead.
We really appreciate you on here today. I really want to ask you, I feel like you've been in the shelter in place, this very, very strict shelter in place now for longer than a lot of the country, you and Caroline. What are the top, 1 or 2 things that you look back and you think you've done that you'd like to share with everybody?
The great thing about a bad market is it just exposes all those bad habits, right? Yeah. Every shift does, so we've really locked down, we penny pinched, all the pet projects, the website bills, like any dollars we don't need to spend that doesn't directly result in dollars coming in, all of that was wiped away, right? Yeah. All of the actions we used to do is completely wiped away. So for us, I mean, our measuring stick is really just 2 things: dial count, contract signed. That's it. That's the only conversation that we're having right now. Literally.
And you're post-dating your contracts in some cases?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And our MLS allows us to use a letter to say we're withholding the property from market. Perfect. And give the reason. And for COVID, they're allowing us to do that.
You know what I love about Mike about that is Ben Kinney keeps saying this is not a snow day. These are not snow days. And what our mantra is at the Ben Kinney companies is this is a time to fill your funnel. And what I love is you're going to come on the backside of this with a huge pipeline with that focus, right? And it's such a testament to your leadership because you're just focusing on what you can control. You cannot control to a certain extent who's going to list or not list right now, but you can control how many people you talk to and how many people you convert to that contract. Before I let you go, I asked the group if they wanted you to do any more scripts. Tony, do you want buyer or seller on that? We've got 1 script request and we're just going to do 1. What's holding you back? He wants a what's holding you back script. So
okay.
You choose if you want a buyer or seller.
No, that's a great question. So let's go seller. Okay. Other than the market and other than COVID and making sure that we're keeping your family safe, what's holding you back? And then they ask that, and then what is holding them back?
Just that's a good question. Not understand. Do you guys have any specifics that what are you guys hearing or holding people back? I would say, probably insecurity about their job is one.
Okay. And I see
maybe I'm making less because my company is
market value going down, buyer. Okay, good. So what's holding you back? Well, I've got a little bit of job insecurity. Viha, I can completely appreciate where you're coming from. However, I will say this. We had some of the largest unemployment filings that we've seen. I mean, literally the largest week in U.S. history. But at the same time, don't forget, the media loves to sensationalize. And I'm not going political with this. I'm just saying, media loves to sensationalize. We had 10 million people file for unemployment, yet our employment rate is still just a hair below 6%, less than half of the last market.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
I'm seeing checks starting to go out to support businesses, small and large both, to get us through this thing. And those people are required to keep their people in payroll. To be honest, I think the government is doing whatever they can do to try to help us out financially, right? To keep people employed. Our unemployment rate is what it was through the 90s, even during the good market.
Mm-hmm.
So this mass 30, 40%, 50% unemployment, I got to be honest, I don't think we're going to see it. I honestly don't.
Okay.
I can appreciate where you're coming from. Now that said, if we do put your home on the market and we get an offer and you don't want to accept it, then we just reject it. And that's what we'll do.
So you put them in control.
Yes.
What's really good is, hey, what are you paying rent right now?
Yeah. What
Go
you're
ahead,
paying.
Mike.
Yeah. But if I've got the buyer for your home that must make a move and they're willing to pay 15 grand over value today because they have to do it, we're going to miss that if we're not on the MLS.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a month from now, they'll have the inventory to choose from.
So they're in the driver's seat. They can make the decision. Another comeback I've heard that's really good is, if you can't pay your mortgage versus not paying your rent, you're probably more protected at this stage from not paying a mortgage with the forbearance acts coming than if you were, in a rental situation. It's probably about the same. And if you're going to have to pay something to someone to live somewhere, there's a lot of benefits to having it be a mortgage, than a rent, and then you can go into the rent versus own. Mike Perna, you are amazing. Thank you.
You're amazing.
You're more amazing. You're amazing. We could fight all day on that.
That we have. Yeah.
We actually have. And it's 4:00 p.m. there, so I really just appreciate you kind of getting us at the end of the day. It's 1:00 here, so we're just kind of in the middle of our day, but thank you very, very, very much. And chat is blowing up. People loved you. They loved your script. Do you guys want Mike back? Should we bring Mike back and just do a script off with Mike? Okay, I think next week we might do a script off. We might have you. I might pull a couple. I've got Seychelle Van Poel, Sarita Dua are coming on next week. I think that we're going to pull a couple of people. We're going to do a script off. How does that sound?
Oh my God, those are some of my favorites, and I will crush them. Honestly.
Okay, you're coming back. I just made this up. Okay.
With love. I will crush them with love.
No, I know. They want to be crushed with love. It's not that kind of a webinar. All right. Thank you very much. We appreciate you. I am going to bring the awesome Caroline. Whoa.
Why am I number 3 following these guys? Thanks a lot, Mia.
Because you are amazing and you're just number 3. There's really no reason. I don't know. We saved the best for last, right, Steve?
Follow these guys. My gosh.
So Caroline, I just wanted to pull you on, for a few minutes to talk about the luxury market, because we have somewhat similar markets. You are based in Burlingame, which is in Silicon Valley, right? And so I'd love you to tell everybody a little bit about your business and just what you're experiencing in the market there. And hopefully we can just drill down a little bit on how this looks in a predominantly high-end and luxury market.
Sure. Thanks, Mia. So we are based in Burlingame. We're the mid-peninsula of the San Francisco Bay Area. So a lot of luxury properties here. We also have an expansion team in Southern California, in the South Orange County. The luxury market has been extremely affected by what's been happening because the majority of the luxury buyers and sellers, their down payments or, their money is tied into the market.
Yeah.
And tied to their company stocks. So at any given day, their down payment can, swing from here to there by $500,000. So we're seeing properties that are being listed right now. There's a reason they're on the market. And most people are just sitting tight because their purchasing power has just decreased.
And that's your way of saying that they're not the most stellar listings right now?
No, and we want to get to the ones that are still protected are the ones that are about $1.5 million to $2 million. That's really the meat and potatoes of the market. So we want to make sure that we have a great business. Brady Sandel says, you know, the fish, you want the belly of the fish, because the luxury market is like the tail. It's always swinging and moving. So we want to make sure that we focus on the belly of the fish.
Oh, I like that a lot. So in your world, 1.5 to 2 million, is that about your median?
That's like a starter home. Yeah, we're seeing our team's average price point is about $1.9 million.
Okay. Yeah. Our median, depending on our markets, Seattle median's in the mid 700s. And then we have some submarkets in our east side where the median's kind of that 1 to 1.3 mark. And then a lot of our outerlying areas have medians of 300 and 400. So we have a wide variation here.
Right. And luxury market, it's different from town to town to city. So in Atherton, $6 million gets you a piece of dirt. It's just dirt. And it's dirt. And in Hillsborough, you know, the luxury maybe starts at 5 or 6. Actually, you have a nice home. So luxury in Atherton, you're starting at probably 12 to 13.
It's crazy. So Caroline, what do you recommend for it's all relative. It doesn't really matter what your prices are versus our prices. For our luxury agents that are watching and joining us right now, what do you recommend that they do as a best practice during this time?
Number one is cut your expenses. And you know, our coach had us do that months ago, but cutting your expenses to the bare bones, and it fosters creativity when you do that. So, you know, we used to spend so much on marketing. How can we do that digitally now? How can we be creative about doing that? It's amazing what you can survive on, but just 50% of your expenses. And decide on what your messaging is. And during a crisis, your team's culture really shows up. Yeah. And what you're about really shows up. And so in the very beginning, the first few days, it was just about management, getting our legs. And then it was high priority for us to decide on our messaging, what it was going to be, and then pace it out. And our message is really, it's not to be tone deaf and not to be predatory, just like what Cody said. It's not like, hey, we're open for business. Would you like to buy or sell a house or invest in real estate? It's what can we do for you? And then now it's like, no, what do you really, really need? And by just asking those questions and digging deep, we had somebody from Oregon call me and say, Caroline, you know, when you ask what do I really need, what I really need is, can you go to my grandma's house and look in her window and check on her because I haven't heard from her in 3 days? Oh. You know, conversations like that. So decide on your messaging. And so we now stack our messaging as far as for the week is the first part, the messaging is something to do with the market and the economics of it. What does it mean? The second part is like a social fun thing. And the third part is something else, something about caring and giving back to the community. And when we send those messages out, you know, they have their links to virtual coffees. So if somebody's responding to those virtual coffees, we kind of know what silo they're going into and what they want to talk about. So deciding on your messaging and then touching our database in a really meaningful way. Because this COVID-19 puts us all in the same playing field. We all have some commonality in how you react to it.
So I'm really hearing you say for luxury right now, you're really more focused on filling your funnel and tightening your belt to get through this, and just trying to be a person, an agent of integrity during this time with your database.
Yes, and coming from value. And so what Cody said is, you know, many of our luxury clients are business owners. Here's a link to the PPP if you need it. Here's a link to this. And this is the bank contact that we have. What do you need? Yeah. And really asking, what do you need? And then being that person to be able to deliver that.
What do you think the end of this is going to be the beginning of for real estate?
I'm sorry, you froze a little bit.
What do you think the end of COVID is going to be the beginning of for real estate?
What do I think the end of COVID is going to be? It's the beginning of great opportunity. And I think it's a beginning of people rethinking the way they do business and what they're really about. I think it's a great opportunity right now for us to take this time and really do an audit on our systems. Take this time to audit your listing systems, your operations, so that it is going to be really streamlined for when the floodgates do open, when the SIPs are lifted. We are going to see an influx of business. Are we prepared for that? So this is a great time to get your teams involved to do those audits.
Really, really well said. Thank you so much for joining us. If you guys have any questions for Caroline, please feel free to post them in chat. Can you stick around for a few minutes, Caroline? Yeah. I'm going to bring Steve on, but first of all, I want to publicly thank you. I just want to share with you guys, Caroline sent a whole box of masks for us to use in our market centers. She knew that we had a market center in Kirkland that was about a mile from the Life Care Center. And when this whole thing came down, she texted me almost immediately and sent us a whole box of masks for our market center to use. So it was really thoughtful. It was exactly what you exemplify what you're saying. I wanted to know that you don't just say it, you do it. You really do walk your talk. That meant a lot to me. So thank you for doing that. We appreciate you. Steve, I'm going to bring you on. How are you, my friend?
I'm better every day. How are you?
I'm good. So ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know Steve Hyatt, you need to know Steve Hyatt. He is one of my favorite people. He's out of our Tacoma office. And Steve, what I love about you is, you've been through this before. You've been through downtimes before, right? And immediately when this happened, I just saw you look at reality, pump yourself up, and do what you have to do. And I just wanted to share that publicly, that I've admired that from the very beginning of this. You just were like, all right, let's go. Here we are. Here's the circumstance. I'm gonna figure out a way to make this happen.
Mike Tyson says everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face, right? And for a lot of people, they're getting punched in the face right now. And my personal story, I used to be in a different industry and own new car dealerships around the area.
But I would love you to share your story with everybody. It's a really powerful story.
I grew up in the car business. I actually grew up in a family business, and in my early 30s, I left and bought the dealership across town to be my dad's competitor, and we have the exact same name. So then he turned around and sued me and told me I couldn't use my name. It was really pretty interesting. And I was going great guns, and then in the mid-2000s, 07, 08, I spent about $600,000 personally trying to keep my two dealerships open, and I got the opportunity to go broke and start over again. If you ever get a chance to do it, I'd recommend go to Vegas or something, because at least they'll give you like dinner and a room. If you just lose money with the government, they don't do anything for you. They just tell you owe them more. So it's not so much fun. So I jumped into real estate. December 08 was my first month. So 2009, I was Rookie of the Year for the nation out of 540 offices when I was with a different franchise. This month, I've now been with KW 7 years. I moved over 7 years ago after 4 years in a different brokerage. And I've done okay. I do okay in the region, do okay in the state. It's all right.
Steve's done very, very well.
When this came down, I was like, oh my gosh, I've got the opportunity to go broke again. And this is not what I thought would happen. So I daily remind myself that crisis creates opportunity. I write it in a hashtag. I put it everywhere. I just remind myself that. And second, I was like, right now, I need to pivot. I can grab market share and I can grab enough cash that if I didn't sell a house for a year and a half, it wouldn't matter. Right? I could cover every rental, every house, every kid in college, everything else, and just be fine. So that was my goal. How do I make March and April create so much cash? Now, one of them, I am getting rid of one of my rental houses. but I'd rather have the stress off. I'd rather know there's a couple extra $100,000 in the bank and I don't have to worry about it, right? Wouldn't go very far in Caroline's market, but it does in Tacoma, where our average is 375, does pretty well. So I've just been focused, and we're all talking about reaching out to people. I had a friend talking to me and she's like, listen, there's no way you can call those people in your database. And I'm like, how about I just start with my phone? And from Sunday to Sunday, I texted 1,600 people, right?
So 1,600 people you texted.
Correct. A little more than that, but it's a round number. And it was just the same text. Hey, I was thinking about you. How are you? Hope everything's okay. And then I signed my name on it. And with the people that I went to text that I know that we text rather regularly, I would just erase my name off the signature so it didn't seem businessy, right? Other people, there was people I found on my phone I haven't talked to in years. And I was surprised how many reached back out. The other thing I started doing is, obviously I'm comfortable on camera. I started doing a Facebook Live update morning and afternoon as everything went in. And I would bring industry things onto that every day. I was talking to one of the new agents on my team today, and she said her mom reached out to her. And before she said, how are you? How are the kids? How are anything else? She's like, why is the MLS screwing with Steve? Why are they making it hard for you guys to go out and sell houses? It's funny because you'll cut the video and maybe only a certain amount of people will sign in, but then you go back 3 days later and you've got 500 views. There's people that listen to you and it raises your awareness, or who knows who you are while you're out there.
That's incredible. And Steve, what brought me, I remember we were chatting on, I think it was Friday. Can't remember, it was Friday. And one of the cool things about Steve, you guys, and you talk about integrity, and I mentioned the story about Caroline. Steve does what he says he does, meaning he texted 1,600 database and he's calling him. He does the same thing with me. He walks his talk. And he called me up. He said, how are you doing? I'm checking in on you. You're doing a great job, kid. And it was a great call. And I said, how are you? What have you done? This incredible amount of business last week that you generated all since COVID. What have you done in the last week or 10 days?
In 14 days, I put 9 under contract and I've listed 5. By myself.
I mean, so you got to walk us through that. So were you working with any of these people before COVID?
So a lot of these people I was working with COVID. I'm a small little outfit. And so Thanksgiving to Christmas, I order 40 cases of wine and go see my clients personally from Thanksgiving to Christmas.
Well, right now you're their hero.
Yeah. I don't think much of it lasted very long at this point. So I'm very much a relational guy. So some of the people that I was talking to were sellers that had been, hey, let's wait, maybe April, May. And I'm like, listen, you ever been to a casino? Yeah. You ever started playing? Yeah. All of a sudden you're up and you're up and you're up and you take a little hit and you think, hey, it's going to be fine. Well, at that point, the casino lies to you and you're like, hey, you're on the house's money. No, that money has changed hands. That's your money. If you walk away, it's yours right now. And what I can tell you is the only way that a dip happened is we already went past the peak. And I can tell you that a lot of times people stay on that table so long that they decide they have to buy back in and they lose their original investment plus the house's money, which was really theirs. And now they have to put more in just to stay. Folks, I can tell you if this was the peak and you get out now, you'll get more money than if you wait for 3 months from now.
Mm-hmm.
You'll get more money now. That's my prediction. Now, I'm a business guy. I've owned other businesses. I've done this. I've been doing this for 11 years now. If it was me, I would do it. And what I did when I did my Facebook Live updates, I said, hey, I'm going to put one of my own houses on the market. Let me tell you how it does. By the way, sold it virtually and got 5 offers in a weekend, right? Boom.
That's like
got
Cody's
25
story.
grand over list, right?
You're telling a story. That's fantastic.
Yeah, you're telling the story. I tell them the story about one of my friends that's moving to Texas. And I'm like, hey, we'll put your home on visually with the virtual tour, the 3D virtual tours. When we were in the complete lockdown, we weren't essential, sold his house in 4 hours with 2 offers, 10 grand over list. And I also, by telling their story, was able to tell mine and go, if you're working with agents that don't spend the money on a virtual tour, are you really working with a professional or are you working with somebody who wants to dabble with your money? There's a big difference between the two.
Yeah, it's the time to do that. So Steve, let's go back, because I want to walk through the progression. So you send this text out to 1,600 people. Somebody obviously responded. Okay.
Oh, sure.
How do you pivot that conversation to real estate? What does that look like?
Most of them know that's what I do. So they just bring it up. They ask me how business is, right? And in the beginning, I was like, we've been in this for 48 hours. I can't really tell you. Now that we're 2 weeks into it and I talk to them, I'll be like, here's exactly what I see happening. In our area, it blows me away how many homes are still selling with all this right now. We have so many either essential employees, government employees, or people in tech jobs that aren't worried about it just completely going away, that they're still buying. And it shocks the heck out of me. And it's not what I thought would happen. I really thought that the wheels would come off the bus much faster than they have.
Okay, so let's role play. So we're having this conversation. I go, well, okay, I'll tell you what, Steve, I was gonna call you, and then all this stuff happened, and I've been privately hesitating, whether I should list my house or not. What would you say?
I think that's a smart thing to do, to think about something before you do something big like that. And you know what, Via, no matter what you decide, I'm going to be here for you. I'll be here for you whether the market's way up, where it's at right now, or way down below. But if you went to the doctor and you were told that you had cancer of the pinky and it was terminal, but they told you they could amputate it tomorrow and you'd have a 100% success rate, you'd get your pinky amputated, wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When you wake up tomorrow, would you be like, yeehaw, today's the day? You wouldn't, but you'd still go do it. So in this case, I'm your doctor, and I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what I think you should hear. And what I think you should hear is, if you're going to get out, I would sell now. If you want later, I'll still be there, but you get to pick what treatment you want. Yeah. And in the end, I get to tell you congratulations, or smart move.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that you and Mike these are amazing scripts today. And one of the things that I keep going back to is cash is king right now. And, you apologize for selling one of your rental properties, but we own assets for this exact time so that we can liquidate them at the right time. Right. So ideally we hold everything forever, but we can't.
I lost you, Via. You all jumbled up there.
Still the same way. Oh yeah, I have a bad connection. I don't know why. I was saying that cash is king.
It is.
And there's a time to liquidate assets. And to your point about selling your rental property, that's okay. We own assets so that we can liquidate them at the right time. And ideally, we hold them forever. But there is a time to liquidate. Yeah.
I absolutely share that with them. I'm like, listen, I'm selling one of my rentals. I'm keeping the others, but I'm selling the one that the timing's the best on. And it's got the most cash that I can just put in the bank. My job's to take care of my kids. My job's to take care of my family. My job's to make sure that I can keep my assistant employed and move everything forward. So I'm selling it because this is what I think is best. And if you think it's best for you, then we'll move forward.
Yeah. So what, Steve, you've had an incredible amount of success during COVID, and I really love seeing you step up. What one or two things would you like to share with all the agents watching that have been the best things that you have done since this started? Maybe you already did.
Well, I might have. One thing I'm doing is I'm exercising a minimum of 5 days a week. I'm an avid CrossFitter, and I can't go to my gym. So I'm running, which I hate, and I'm doing a lot of other stuff just here where I live every day, trying to make myself better. And the second thing that I'm trying to do is I'm trying to approach every single day looking at what my gratitude and my blessings are. There are agents, I've heard it on calls and other stuff, that are just frozen in place right now. They don't know what to do. I'm fortunate that I've been beat up financially once before. I know exactly what to do. And I know exactly when I'll take my breather. But in the meantime, it's just go, go, go. And so I'm lucky that I've been through what I've been through before. I'm lucky that the 07, 08 broke me financially and I had to completely start over again. Because now, while I'm nervous and scared, I got a plan. I know exactly what to do. And in another 2 weeks, I won't be scared anymore. So much stuff will be closed. I'll be just fine.
I love that, Steve. Are you cool? Can you stick around for a few minutes? Do you want to do a little
Yes.
script off with Perna? Should we have a Hyatt Perna script off right now, everybody? Give me an objection. Give me some objections on chat, and let's see if we can do a Perna Hyatt script.
Well, look, he's bouncing. He's ready to go. Maybe I need to stand
Brian,
up too.
give us this. We need an objection, though. We need an objection. I gave 3. Now the audience has to choose an objection. What are you guys hearing right now from buyers and sellers that you want scripts on?
Nobody's got any type of darn objection in.
I gave 3 really, really good ones, I think. So let's see here. Okay, so this is a good general one. I think I'll go for this one. We've kind of gone through it before, but I think in general we'll do this one. Gentlemen, I'm going to give you each, I don't know, I'm not going to time it, but like, let's say like quick, right? Go quick. So gentlemen, I'm a buyer right now, and I think the market's going to go down, and I want to wait. Hyatt, go.
I can understand your hesitancy. Let me ask you, so how much money do you really think you would save in the time that you have to wait?
I haven't really thought of it that way.
Okay, well, I would ask you to think about it this way, because quite frankly, real estate always goes from here to here. It always does. It takes to this when it does it, but it always long-term goes from here to here. The fact of the matter is you can't make a return, you can't have the tax write-offs, and you can't move forward unless you own a home. And if you like somebody else controlling your life, that's the other bonus that would keep you from out of it. Let me ask you a question. If you got into the house and it was the same as your rent and you felt comfortable with it and you loved it and you had the upside of being able to both have the house go up in value and have the taxes, why would you wait?
Yeah, I probably wouldn't.
It wouldn't make sense, would it? You seem to me, Via, like the type of person that likes to take control of your own destiny. Would you like to go ahead and get into a house in about 4 weeks, or you think more like 6 would be better?
Well, I don't know how this is all going to play out. So,
No, that's what we just established and talked about it. You know what we need to do is go out and look at a couple of them first after you're pre-approved, and then we'll see if it fits. That's fair enough, isn't it?
Let's do it.
Go ahead, Mike. You probably got something better. I'm just an old car guy trying to figure out how real estate
I already asked this one, but I want to hear different variations of it because it's kind of like
a different one.
All right, Mike.
Yeah, I can appreciate where you're coming from. Hey, how much is your rent right now?
How much is my rent right now, everybody?
$2,000 a month.
$2,000 a month. Excellent. And then what are we looking at for a mortgage payment? I think, if I remember right, the mortgage guy had approved you around $1,400 a month. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. That's correct.
Excellent. Hey, other than home ownership, what are some of your other goals? You know, putting kids through college, Disney vacation. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, exactly. I want to have retirement, put my kids through college, go on a nice vacation every year, drive a nice car, you know.
Yeah. You think $60,000 would take care of that?
Am I supposed to say yes?
Yeah, like 60 to 72,000.
Yeah.
Okay. Because what I'm going to give you through home ownership isn't just owning a home, paying down principal, a tax return, but every single month I'm going to give you back $600.
Oh, okay.
You're going to have $7,200 in savings from buying a home that you can put towards the Disney trip, the college fund, all of those wonderful things that you can't do while you're renting.
Wow. Okay. I would love to learn more about that.
Because what I'd really like to do is talk to you more about your long-term goals. I mean, how much do you think this home's going to go down in value percentagely?
Yeah, probably not that much. I've heard like 3% maybe.
All right. Let's say 10.
Okay.
You're going to stay in it for 5 years?
Yeah, at least.
There you go. So I'm going to save you $7,200 a year. Over 5 years, that's $35,000. If it goes down 10%, great. It went down $30,000. Okay? So in other words, it was a push. But what you also got was money back on your taxes. There's another 20 grand there. Paid off your mortgage. There's another 20 grand there. And then you got to take that extra money and throw it into that college fund and let it grow. You got to go have vacations and memories in the backyard. You got to go to Disney. You got to do all of the things, which is the reason why we're on the phone right now, which is pushing you to consider a home purchase in the first place. Memories, family, all of that. I mean, honestly,
great.
Is that worth the 30 grand? Because it's going to be a push anyway.
Fantastic.
All right,
one more in. I'm going to squeeze one more in. The question, sellers. This is going to be seller objection, and we're going to end after this one. And that is this overarching general objection. I just don't want to list my house right now. I don't understand how this is going to play out. I want to wait and get to the end of shelter in place and see what the economy does and see what my job does. And I don't know, but I'm motivated to sell. Might Perna go?
All right. Well, one of three things are going to happen. Home values are going to go up. Now, the house that you're selling at 300, great, that'll go up 10%. The one that you're buying at 550, that'll also go up 10%. So you lost. Sorry. Home values will stay the same, which means nothing. That just means you didn't get into the home that you wanted to get into in time for the school year. So you got to keep your kids in the first district for another year, which I know is a pain in the butt for you because you're looking forward to making that move. Or home values will go down. However, the economy will probably recover because the economy recovers faster than home values. So if you were to make that move and save a few bucks on it, you're going to lose it all on the interest rates that go up. So it's either win, win, lose. And the lose is waiting. Let's get your kids into that school district. Let's get you into the next home. Let's take advantage of low interest rates. And to be honest, if we put your home on the market and we don't see the offer you're looking for, just reject it.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Steve Hyatt, we're going to end with you, my friend.
He ended with my favorite part. If you don't like it, just reject it. Via, I understand your hesitation, but you know what it sounds to me? It sounds to me like you want to make a good decision. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Making a good decision is selling your house at the right time with a professional that's going to market, that's going to expose it to the entire place, knowing right now the market you're in versus one that you don't, when you know you're going to move already anyways. Let's just get the paperwork drafted up, and then we'll work on photography over the next couple of weeks. I get those butterflies in my stomach sometimes too, and you know what I realize? It's just my body releasing adrenaline to help me power through. It's been happening for millions of years. I'll send the paperwork over so you can sign electronically, and we'll get the photographer out. Is next Wednesday or Thursday better?
Yeah, I could probably do it by next Thursday. That's great.
Sounds great.
That's great. Oh my goodness, thank you so much. We are doing a massive script off next week. I love you guys. I cannot thank you enough for spending your Wednesday with us on our Wednesday webinars. And to all of our viewers, thank you guys. 90 minutes of sheer content. Hopefully you got a lot out of this, and we'll get you those stats and all of your different Facebook groups. We can email them to you. Just reach out to whoever invited you, and we'll get you everything you need. And by the way, this is who we are. Ben Kinney Companies and Keller Williams. We share, we educate, we train, and we equip, and all brokerages and all brands are welcome. That's just how we roll. Have a great Wednesday, everybody. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you.